Here are some CSGO tricks you probably didn't know, beginning with re-smoking early. As the initial smoke goes down, your opponents will be fully visible for free kills. As well, if you're in a 1v1 and the bomb is down, you can see the bomb down on the radar, and when your opponent picks it up, it stops blinking and you can pre-fire them. And before we go into more, First, I want to tell you about the online bootcamp I'm running with Ghostu Academy to help you become a better player. This is a 10-day course with tasks, accountability, feedback directly from me, and most importantly, other players with similar mindsets that you can network with and potentially play with in the future. Look, the reality is everything that you need to know about CS is out there on the web for free, but it's the learning that's the hard part. And the reason I agreed to run this bootcamp is specifically because they're proven to be more effective ways of learning, and YouTube can often have a bit of an information overload that makes it hard to truly improve. So I do genuinely recommend you check out the bootcamp, and worst case scenario, after a couple of days, if you didn't enjoy it, you can get a refund. If you remove the silencer from a silenced weapon like the USP, it's just going to be less accurate. It doesn't give you any advantage at all except for sounding worse. I'm looking at you, Simple. You can peek faster than holding shift without making sound. All you do is just don't step too far. You can actually go surprisingly far without making noise. Your body is wider on the left side, so generally you want to be peeking angles to the right. But there are some angles like second oranges on Inferno where your head, because it's leaning to the right, ends up being almost impossible to see. There are also some angles on other maps like Mirage where you can peek into someone when they're close to the angle and you can see their head but they can't see yours. Some people don't know that you can plant with E or you can plant with mouse 1. The plant times are exactly the same though. When going up a ladder, you of course shouldn't just hold W, you should hold W and A while looking up to be faster, but you may have seen a lot of pros do something like this. They were going up a ladder silently but quicker than holding shift by doing the same thing as going up as quickly as possible, but just tapping it a little bit at a time. In my myths video, I showed that a smoke won't mask the sound of a defuse. However, someone in the comments told me, and I tested, that extinguishing a Molotov will. After a lot of research, we're pretty sure we figured out which agents give an actual advantage. Can you see this one?
Oh shit.
Wait, what?
I did literally tell them I was going to be in pit. T-side agents vary map to map, but at least on Dust 2, a lot of people complain about Miami Daryl. On CT side, we're pretty sure B Squadron Officer is broken on every map.
Dude, his skin is busted!
Oh
Dude, he's actually...
But as it turns out, no matter how good your agent is, you still have to shoot them. Oh my god, the pressure. Let's do that again. Take 2. Take 10. Let's go. Go when you're ready. It's not that easy. Good enough. Picking up a gun makes noise when you're running. However, if you're holding shift, picking up a gun actually doesn't make any sound. You are fully accurate if you're going less than 34% of your max speed, so ADAD spamming can be very strong in some spots. You actually see pros do this sometimes when holding an angle, so they're harder to hit. If you're falling and you let go of crouch just before hitting the ground, you won't take damage. But it's extremely hard to do intentionally. Extremely hard. This Molotov in middle on Inferno gets a ton of kills. People try and go underpass to get away from it, but it spreads pretty deep. The easiest way to drop guns to your teammates is to hold control when you click on that weapon. If you didn't know, you can scroll to this part of the menu, which has 3 more chat wheels you can use to request weapons and a bunch of other things. Dead bodies are server side, not client side, so it may look different for your opponents. Right here?
No,
His head's right here.
it's like...
A timing a lot of people get wrong is that the best CT spawn does actually beat the best T spawn to long corner by a decent amount. Close to a Molotov with your settings on low, you can see through it a little bit easier, and far away with your settings on high, you can see through it much easier. Something you might not have noticed that you might even do yourself is when someone catches you off guard, you'll see most pro players move while flicking to make themselves harder to hit. From the other player's POV, you can see it, although it didn't really matter. This one might be a better example. Chickens don't run away just because they've seen you or they've heard you. In fact, you either have to shoot, or if it looks like you're gonna jump on top of it, it will try not to get crushed. I see a lot of people trying this spam, but you actually cannot hit the bomb planter unless they're planting off of the wall. Dropping guns on a higher ground doesn't make the dropped gun sound. It's a much more quiet sound. I've seen a couple of people say they keep boost player contrast off because it's easier to see people through mollies, but I've done a lot of looking and I really can't see any difference except for the boost player contrast seems to be working at all times. You can usually hear a sound when you hit people, even if it's through smoke or through walls. Please, I see this way too often. You don't have to jump to get onto mini on nuke. You can just run right across and crouch when you're landing. You could get hit while you're in the air and dropped onto the ground and die, but that's not that likely, even if you're trying. 3, 2, 1, go. Technically, the most armor you can lose on a round is 100. But realistically, with rifles, you barely even lose 20. And if you drop in a nade, sometimes you lose more than 30. Generally, I would recommend rebuying armor at 40. The player and the person spectating the player oftentimes see slightly different things. So if you see someone on your teammate's screen, he might not have seen it himself. And just like on Dust 2, the best CT spawn on Mirage beats the best T-spawn by quite a bit. The Scout actually scopes in a little bit less than the AWP, which explains why sometimes it's a little hard to shoot. Here's a way to smoke deep B apartments on the fly with a ton of leeway for messing it up. The nade you drop when you die isn't random, and it's not your most expensive nade, it's the last nade you had equipped. There was the Molotov, this one is the smoke, and here's the nade. Wait, where's the nade? I can't, where? There it is. Here's a really nice molly smoke combo you can use on Mirage, where it sounds like the molly was extinguished, but it wasn't. Thanks for watching, and check out this video YouTube thinks you'll like.